Hello, 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 and welcome to the Lettering Design Blueprint Workshop. I am so excited you are here active in the chat because this session has never been more relevant. We are living in a time that is both really exciting and a little strange. This is a time where every designer has the opportunity to put their work out there in the world, but where the risk of blending in and going unnoticed is greater than ever. So I want to start by naming the reality that many designers are facing today. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining on time and for being there, for sharing where you're joining from. I want to start by naming the problem that designers face today. Designers feel like they are doing a little bit of everything, but not known for anything. And let me know in the chat if this is you. They want to stand out, but they don't know what tool or skill will set them apart. They are tired of feeling inconsistent, overwhelmed by all the wealth of information out there, and they are unsure on how to improve. And lettering, which is the topic that gathers us today, looks interesting, but feels mysterious, intimidating, or too artsy for some designers. And I want to tell you that the designers who stand out today are the ones that feel confident, motivated, and in demand. Those that you follow on social media and you feel like, I want to be like them, are the ones who have clarity about their path, who have a focus, and they have the skills to back it up. And this workshop will help you build both of them. So first, I want to say welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining today. In case you don't know me, my name is Martina Flor. I'm a lettering designer. I'm an educator. I'm a South American living in Germany for the past 15 years. I'm the author of these three books, The Golden Secrets of Lettering, The Big Leap, and Make It. And I'm also the founder of the Lettering Seminar, the #1 lettering program in the world, and the founder of Big Ampersand, a membership to master both the art and business of hand lettering. And I want to tell you a little bit about my story and how specializing in lettering really changed my design career and also my life, and why I am so passionate about sharing this with people like you. Um, I used to be a generalist graphic designer. I started as a generalist graphic designer doing all kinds of design work, layouts, websites, brochures, logotypes, everything. And lettering, when I discovered lettering, it really became the lens that made me better at all design. It really became that one thing that allowed me to become better as a designer. And what is great is that specializing didn't limit me. I thought that specializing in something as a graphic designer will limit me, will just narrow my opportunities. But instead of that, it amplified everything. It amplified my skill. It amplified my confidence in my work. It amplifies the kind of clients I work with, and it amplified my visibility. So really, lettering really amplified my possibilities as a designer. And I always say that although letter design seems like a little door within the world of design, it seems like a very small discipline. Once you cross that door, a world of possibilities opens behind into that world. So I feel like lettering really opened up the doors to a very exciting career that I've been, going through in the past 15 years. And I remember that back when I was a graphic designer, I had a full-time job as a graphic designer. And I remember that I felt like creativity was not part of my work. The creative life that I wanted to have when I signed up for art school was not the life that I was having. So I would come back from my day job and I would sit down to work and do the creative work that I love during those 2 or 3 nights, 3 hours in the night. And then I will go to sleep and I will wake up on the next day and I will do everything all over again. And at some point, I started asking myself, what if I would do the work I love every day, if this work that I do during those 2 hours in the night will become the work that I do every single day, and people will pay me for it? And that question really took me down the path of doubling down on my skills and trying out if this was a possibility for me. And it has happened. It has happened. It allowed me to build a portfolio of work that I really love, that connected me with amazing clients, amazing opportunities, that allow me to travel the world, speaking at conferences and preaching about the power of lettering and typography. It allowed me to win prizes that I never thought would be possible for me. And it gave me the knowledge and the motivation to write not one, but 3 books about the art and business of hand lettering. And it really took me around the world, teaching others how to create hand lettering and how to infuse it in their work. So focusing on lettering design, by focusing on lettering design, I didn't become a different designer. I became a better one. I became an expert at what I was doing. And that gave me authority, that gave me confidence to build a career that I really love. And today I want to share the 3 pillars of building a career as a lettering designer. And this will help you move from doing some lettering or experimenting with lettering to becoming the go-to expert clients look for. So before we get started, I want to invite you to turn off notifications on your phone. We are going to spend the next 60 minutes together, and you decided to sign up for this workshop because you feel there's something here for you. And in order to discover what is here in this workshop for you, you need to be present in this workshop. And that's why I want to invite you to turn off notifications on your phone, close your email app, and dedicate these 60 minutes to you, your craft, your career. Because not paying attention to this may do the following to you, may, keep you blending as a generalist in a world full of generalists. Perhaps it will mean for you that you will continue to struggle to raise your rates as a designer. It will mean for you that you will feel creatively stuck if that's what you're feeling right now. It will mean that you will not improve as fast as you would like to. It will mean that you will stay where you are, not being recognized by anything specific. And I am positive that this workshop will help you move the needle in the right direction, but can only help you if you are here and you are present and you're paying attention to what I'm going to share with you today. Because what I'm going to share with you today is powerful. So first, let's start by understanding what lettering really is, because I think most designers get this wrong. Lettering is not drawing pretty letters. Lettering is a discipline within design that combines systems and self-expression to tell a story, to translate a story, a message into a visual form. Lettering is design, it's not decoration, it's not just an illustration of anything. It's design, it has its systems, and you will see after this session that you will understand what lettering is exactly. It's systems thinking, it's proportion, spacing, rhythm, it's balance, it's personality, and we are gonna move next to understanding exactly what this system is. And I know that after you understand that system, you will look at typography differently. Once you understand letter forms, once you know how letter forms are built, you see typography everywhere differently. And this that I'm going to share with you today, you're going to be able to apply it in your work. No matter what is it that you do, no matter if you are a graphic designer, if you are a product designer, if you work on layouts, if you do websites, if you do UX, this is going to be really powerful. Because I believe that knowing how to draw letters makes you a better designer. Lettering is really the fastest way to train your design eye, even if you never intend to become a full-time lettering designer, which I think many of you are like called by this idea of becoming a lettering designer or infusing more of lettering design into your life. But even if you don't intend to do that, learning how to draw letter forms will make you a better designer, will generally open your eyes to a new world of things and details. So let's go down the three pillars of the blueprint. The three pillars are craft, portfolio, and practice. And let's start by the pillar number one, which is craft. And of course, whenever you fall in love with a certain craft, you want to master it, you want to become really good at it. And I always say that your work is your superpower, and especially for us as creatives, our work is the product we create, is the thing that we sell, is what we can offer to the world. And therefore, I think it is worthwhile for us to focus on becoming really good at what we do, because becoming really good at what you do gives you that superpower of like, I can do this, and I know I can do it very well, very well. And what I love about lettering design is that it's the perfect overlap between design systems, right? What we all designers love about design is that it works within systems, and self-expression. And I discovered this power when I decided to, to answer that question that I mentioned before. What would happen if I would double down in this skill of mine and I would go all in and build a career where people pay me for doing this? So the first thing that I did is I moved to the Netherlands. I joined a program in letter design, a one-year program. And in this program, I discovered this beautiful overlap between design and self-expression. And if you see, this is the place where I used to work in the class. So this was my desk, and there on the wall you see a lot of different things that I did during that year with letter forms. And what is great is that I'm always working with it within that system, the system of letter forms, the system of the alphabet. So I'm working within a lot of limitations. What is great about letter design is that it's not just about drawing anything. It's about drawing letter forms that people can recognize as such, that word that you draw, people can read it, that message that you design, people can understand it, right? So you're working with it in system, but you can see over there on the wall the variety of shapes that this system can take. And this is where your self-expression, this is where your voice, this is where your approach as a designer and as a creative comes to play. And this is what I love about letter design. So let's understand that system. And for those that have joined previous sessions with me, you probably have gone through this, what I call the holy grail of letter forms. And this is the overarching system of the creation of letter forms. So it's always great to revise it. So in letter design, we work with the alphabet. That's our clay. That's our raw material, right? And the alphabet is built by three simple shapes: the rectangular shapes, the rounded shapes, and the triangular shapes. In the group of the rectangular shapes, you have the H, you have the I, you have the L, T, E, F, right? And you can recognize them because it's just straight shapes, right? Now you have the group of the rounded letter forms, and those, in this group, you probably, and you can use the chat for this, you will probably find the O, the C, the Q, right? These are the shapes that are simply rounded, right? Now, you also have the group of the triangular letter forms. Which letter forms can you find here? And you can write it on the chat. This is a very easy one. So this first layer is really easy. And you only want to find shapes that have diagonals, right? Shapes that have purely a diagonal. So here you will find an A, a V, a W, an X. And you can recognize them and very well. Hell Drive, Lyrian, Origino. Yes, so you're finding that. So you can recognize this group because it's only working with diagonals, right? Now, this was easy. The tricky part starts when you start combining DNA from one group with the other. So for instance, I can combine DNA of the group of the rectangular shapes with the group of the rounded shapes to create new letter forms, right? And all working within this system. So which letters can you find if you combine straight shapes with rounded shapes? So think about letter forms that have a straight shape with a rounded shape, with a bowl. So probably you're saying a D, a G, a P, a B, a J, a U, and you can recognize, you can see that clearly because these shapes, look at the D, is combining a straight shape with a rounded shape. Now, if you want to combine, and I see you all in the chat giving the correct answers, excellent. Yes, so Tansim is getting it, P, D, Andrea is getting it, P, Rebecca is getting it, B, excellent. So you get it. Now, if I want to combine something or DNA from the group of the rectangular letter forms and the triangular letter forms, which letter forms can you build here? Think of a straight shape with the diagonal. You will probably build an M, an N, a K, a Z, a Y, right? And you can recognize this because they have a straight shape combined with a diagonal, right? And this system also applies to more complex shapes. So for instance, the R combines all three groups of letter forms, all three, or the DNA from the three groups of letter forms. And the S, for instance, the S is an exception to what most people would think. And probably this is something that you have been doing up until now. And after this workshop, you will do it differently. And that is that most people will design letter S as the combination of two half O's, whereas actually the S is a diagonal, or the nature of the S is a diagonal with two rounded strokes, or two stroke endings that are rounded. So understanding, this is the system that we work within, and this is the system of design, and this is the system of the alphabet. And understanding this system gives you the possibility that if your design has an I or an H, you have enough information to build a T, the back of it an R, an M. If your design has an O, you have enough information to build a C, a D, a G. If your design has a V, or an A, you have enough information to build a V and the middle part of an N. But it's not only about the overall system, but also about the details and knowing where to look. So I always say that details matter. Details are what differentiates you from AI. If you want to really beat AI, focus on the details, focus on making things look great. And details in letter design are, for instance, knowing that in order to make the O look the same size than the other letters, you need to make the O go a little bit beyond and below the X height and the baseline, right? So you need to make those optical adjustments so that the O looks the same height than the rest of the letters. That is called overshoot and undershoot. So it's this portion of the O that needs to go above the X height and below the baseline. And if you compare side by side, on the left, you have the one without adjustment. On the right, you have the one with adjustment. And that already gives you and you can already clearly see how the one on the right looks the same size than the H and the N. Another example is, for instance, when you're building a letter A, you will probably take the stem of an I, you will skew it, you will flip it, you will then rotate it to create the middle bar of the A. But if you do that, probably the the letter form will need optical adjustment, and I will show you exactly what those optical adjustments will be. So if you do that, if you take the stem of the eye and you skew it and you flip it, and you then rotate it to create the middle bar of the A, the stems of the A, so the diagonals of the A will look too thin, and the middle bar will look too thick. So this is the version that is not adjusted. And if you adjust it, then it looks perfect. And let me show you side by side how what difference that does optical adjustment makes. On the right, you have the adjusted version where I made the diagonals a little bit thicker so that they match or they look exactly the same width than the eye. And I always say that when you design letter forms, you don't want to design mathematically, you want to design optically. You want to care about how it looks and not so much about how wide it is or how mathematically precise it is, right? You're not using Lego blocks to build your letter forms. You are using your eyes as the main tool to build letter forms that look good. And here you can see on the left the version that is not adjusted, and on the right the version that is adjusted, right? And look on the left, the middle bar of the A looks really thick. Can you see that? And is nevertheless is the same width or the same exact bar that you see on the eye, the same exact stem just laying down. But optically it looks thicker. And therefore you need to use your eyes to design letter forms that look good. And I recently created a reel where I show, if you follow me on social media, on TikTok or on Instagram, you see me sharing comments on different signs that I find on the street. And recently I did a comment on a sign, and I explained this optical adjustment that you need to do to round the letters. And this reel went viral. And I got a ton of different comments dismissing the importance of this. Things like, well, if I'm gonna go buy tobacco, I don't care how it's written. Or people make everything complicated. It's just a freaking signature. Or this is such a non-issue, right? But as designers, we need to take care of this. This is what makes the difference between something that looks fine and something that looks professional, something that really is thought through and is really adjusted for it to be read properly, right? It's our job as designers, and these are the details that make the difference. Now, let's move on to pillar number 2, which is your portfolio. I always say that your portfolio is your biggest career asset. And yes, we care as designers, and we should, because this is our job as designers. So your portfolio is your biggest career asset. And I always feel like designers feel like they need to have the client in order to build their portfolio. And this is why I like showing the first portfolio that I had as a lettering designer. So this is the portfolio that I launched in 2010 when I launched my career as a lettering designer. And from all the projects that you see over there that send a clear message to the world of what I'm capable of doing, just one of them was a professional assignment. All of the rest were self-initiated projects that I did for fun, or projects that I just did to build my portfolio and send that clear message to the world. And if you think about the job of a designer, and specifically in this case, the job of a lettering designer, what we do is to translate something that the clients give us. So we translate a briefing that comes from a client into a visual form. So for instance, in this case, the client comes to me and they ask me to design a book cover. And they say, hey, this book is about great phrases. And the cover should show how beautifully set they are. So what I would do is to take handwriting, combine it with slow movement, right? So use handwriting that has a slow movement and make it all very flourish to express this idea of something that is really beautifully said, right? Beautifully crafted using handwritten letter forms or script letter forms, and I would translate that briefing into a visual form, and I will use letter forms to tell that story. So for instance, on another assignment, I had a client coming to me saying, hey, we are celebrating our best campaign of all time, and we want to get the word out there. So they wanted a design that will get the word out there about the best campaign they have run up until then. So I use ribbon lettering. I use a lot of movement, and I use confetti, of course, because they were celebrating. And I combine everything in one visual result that express this message that the client wanted to send to the world. And a last example, another client came to me and said, hey, we want to send a warm message of togetherness to our community. We want to create this print that we send to some of the members of our community. So I took that briefing and translated into a lettering piece using brush letter forms, which are really soft and friendly, with an energetic composition. And I made it all look a little bit of smooshy, like, that it feels like you're hugging someone. And that briefing translated into a design. So this is what we do as lettering designers, translating certain messages, certain briefing into a visual form. And it's interesting because inside our community, I mentioned that I run this community called Big Ampersand. We do this every month. We publish a portfolio challenge, we call it, which is a real live briefing. So it's a real briefing. Sometimes it's about creating a book cover. Sometimes it's about creating a packaging design. Sometimes it's about creating a poster or redesigning a logotype. In this case was reimagining a book cover of a book you love. And we had our members create the redesign or redesigning the cover of a book they loved, right? And what is very interesting is that everybody was coming up with different ideas, different books, of course, but at the same time, you can see how their own voice and their own approach as designers and lettering designer comes through. And it's just amazing to see the variety of results that come from the same exact briefing, the variety of styles, and how this imaginary briefing helps them build their portfolio. The same way that I imagine briefings for myself to build portfolios or to build portfolio pieces for my portfolio when I launch my lettering business. And what is funny is that we also invite them to, the first challenge that we invite them to do when they join the community is to create an ampersand, because the community is called Big Ampersand. So that's the very first briefing that they have to create and they have to respond to. And you can see also how different everyone is from one another, right? And this is where you start understanding, hey, wait, I have a voice. This is unique to me. So remember, your portfolio doesn't reflect your past, it creates your future. So the work that you're showing in your portfolio is the one that will determine what is the work that is coming to you down the road. And you don't need a client to start building it. You can just come up with those briefings and solve them as a professional, and then include that piece of work into your portfolio. Include that piece of work into your portfolio to send a clear message to the world of what you are capable of doing. And I see some of you saying, I see Stephanie saying, yes, we are translators. In a way, we are translating an idea, a concept, a message into a visual form. And what is great about lettering design is that you do that through letter forms. So letter forms are the heart of your design. And I always say that lettering designers, we thrive in limitations because we have just letter forms to tell that story. And when you have limitations is where, or I always say that creativity thrives in limitations. When you have limitations, you start coming up with ideas, with solutions. Whereas if you have the possibility to do everything, you freeze, right? So for those designers in the room, when a client comes to you and gives you total creative freedom, it's like, I don't know what to do. There's so many options here. But when they give you a clear briefing of what is the target audience, what is the number of colors that you can use, what is the branding that you have to align with, then you start coming up with ideas because you have a set of limitations that you're working with within. And that happens in letter design as well. When you approach a new project, you know exactly where you are approaching the project from. You are approaching that from the power of letter forms. You're using the power of letter forms to tell that story, to come up with a visual solution. And this is a superpower. Let's move on to the pillar number 3. We went through the pillar number 1, which is the practice. We went to the pillar number 2, the craft. We went to the pillar number 2, which is the portfolio. So first, you focus on the craft because this is your superpower. Your craft is what you're going to sell to the world. This is your product. This is what you are able to offer to clients, to potential collaborators. Then in order to show your superpower, you're going to build a portfolio that is going to show or send a message to the world about what you're capable of doing. And then you want to continue building your practice. You want to continue building your momentum. And I want to start by saying that practicing is a trap. Practicing is a trap that keeps you on the same place that you are right now. Practicing is a trap that keeps you starting things and never finishing them. And I want you to move from practicing to creating. And I'm going to show you exactly how you're going to do that. So throughout the years of building my own career as a lettering designer, but also helping others do the same, I have recognized two profiles when it comes to lettering. So one of the profiles is called, or I call it the hobbies. And let me know in the chat if this is you. Because the hobbies starts very motivated when you start something new, when you discover a new craft and you have the potential of learning that craft and becoming really good at it, you start very motivated. So the motivation is always there. Then the hobbies make their first attempts and probably feels like, hey, this is something I could do. I enjoy doing it. I can do it. And then as they continue to do more, they try to improve, of course. But the hobbies find roadblocks and get stuck, right? At some point, in the beginning of learning a craft, the learning curve is very steep, and at some point you reach a plateau. And what happens is that because they get stuck, they don't share their work because it's not finished, right? Because they found this roadblock, they are not able to finish the project. And that happens with most of the projects. So you start with a sketch and then you never finish that because you don't know how to fix the composition, or there's a weird stroke ending and you don't know how to make it better. And then the hobbyist becomes an observer, goes on social media and looks at what others are doing and starts thinking like, hey, I will never get there. this is too hard. They're just too good. I'm too far behind, right? And they look at their sketches, their unfinished sketches, and they even lose the faith on what they are doing. So they keep on hiding their work, and their work goes unnoticed. And eventually they give up, thinking that they just don't have what it takes, that they just don't have it, that they were not born with it, because this is something that either you have it or not, right? And I want to tell you that the best way to practice, and I see many of you saying me, yes, and I want to tell you also that we have all been here. I was also here, stuck in this wheel, right? So I want to tell you that there's a way out, and I'm going to share that way out with you right after this. But I want to say that this is something that we all fall into. So if you feel like this is totally you, it's totally fine. We have all been there, and I have been there as well. But I want to tell you today that the best way to practice, to become really good at what you do, is to create things. So instead of practicing, because in the word practicing, it is embedded the idea that it's just doing, learning by doing, just doing the thing, right? It doesn't define whether you need to finish the thing or not. So instead of practicing, you want to create things. When you create things, you are starting and finishing, and you are shipping the thing. You are putting the thing out there. And the best way to stay accountable with creating things is to become a professional, because professionals have deadlines. Professionals have people that are waiting for the final result, clients, collaborators, right? Professionals know that they need to finish what they start, that their time is valuable, that they need to invest themselves into finishing that thing that they just started. So the best way to stay creating things and improving your skill is to become a professional. And I want to show you what it looks like. So before I mentioned that there's two profiles when it comes to lettering, the hobbyist, and I just define what the hobbies look like, and then the lettering pro. And the lettering pro starts the same way that the hobbyist does. They start with motivation. So a lettering pro starts motivated, thinking, well, I want to learn this new thing. I think this is something for me. So they make their first attempts, and they are excited. They want more. They want to get better at it. So they continue doing it. Remember that the learning curve in the beginning is very steep, and they continue doing it. They try to improve, but they reach a plateau. But what differentiates a lettering pro from a hobbyist is that at this stage, they go find support and guidance, because they know that there is a part of the equation, a part of the information that they need to improve that is beyond what they know. So they need to go find input and feedback, and they improve their work through that, because they share their work, they get feedback, they get input on the things that they lack, right? And then because they see that this input and feedback has an impact on their work, they feel empowered. They like what they are doing. They see the progress, and they share their work on social media, and they grow their portfolio. And when you grow your portfolio and you share your work often, you start to get noticed, and you attract opportunities. And this is where a lettering pro starts to get paid for doing the work they love the most. And this is what gives them motivation to continue doing the thing, to continue doing more of the work, to continue improving their skills, to continue showing the world what they are capable of. And this is what keeps, the lettering pro growing every time, right? This wheel is what keeps them growing and keeps them getting noticed because they are growing their skills consistently. They know what they need to grow their skills. They share their work, they get noticed, and they attract opportunities. So I always say this, that you want to behave like a professional even before becoming one. You want to start having this professional attitude towards your work even before becoming one. So if you're now in the stage where you are experimenting with lettering, you want to start treating your work as if you were a professional. It's never too early to start building your portfolio. It's never too early to start sending that message to the world. And building your portfolio early is great because by the time you decide to go out there with your work, to start engaging new clients that hire you for your lettering, you will have 50% of the work done. You will have that portfolio to back that up. And this happened to me. I realized that, when I look at the results that I was getting on my own by trying to figure out all the things on my own, practicing those 2 hours in the night and trying to get farther. And I look at the results that I got later when I started treating this as a professional, when I started building a business around it, when I started really behaving like a professional. There's a world between those two things. And when I look at the work that I was able to create when I started treating my craft as a professional, that allowed me to build confidence in my skills. And building confidence in your work makes you unbeatable, really. It gives you all the power you need to go out there with your work, to be on stages speaking about your work. And what is great news for all of you is that it always starts with you. It always starts with you taking your craft seriously. It always starts with you finishing what you started. It always starts with you. So I want to show you what happens when you apply the blueprint, because I work with many designers every day inside our membership and inside my programs. And I've seen this transformation happening for many of them. And I want to show you how applying these pillars can have an impact on what you're already doing, because I feel like many designers feel like if they decide to learn the skill of letter design or double down on the skill of letter design, they have to start over again, right? And you will see in these stories that many of these designers, they supercharge their path by learning, by applying these pillars, by learning expertise like lettering design. So the first one is Rebecca. Rebecca is a packaging designer from the UK, and Rebecca learned lettering and incorporated lettering into her skill set as a packaging designer. And what is great is that she can now continue to do that work. She works for the food industry. And for those that work in the food industry, the extra challenge of the food industry is that there's products coming up every single minute, and they are competing for attention on the shelves. So she is now able to use the skill of lettering to create even more unique designs for her clients, and also because of that also ask for premium rates. So Rebecca didn't change everything, didn't become a different designer. She became a better designer, a better packaging designer by incorporating lettering in her skill set. And she did that by infusing lettering pieces in her portfolio. So every new, and this is something that you can learn from Rebecca, every new client that you have, a good way of infusing more in your portfolio is that every new client, every new project that you need to do, try to tackle it from the side of lettering. If you need to do a logotype for a client, try to do it in lettering instead of with lettering instead of choosing a font. If you need to create a packaging for a client, try to approach it from by using custom lettering. And this is what Rebecca did. And with the time, she built a portfolio that really allows her to stand out as a packaging designer. David Bauer. David Bauer He mentioned to me once that he is the After Effects guy. He was called the Effect guy, the After Effects guy by his clients. That meant that he was only seen as a technical animator. And when David started to infuse more lettering work in his portfolio as a motion designer, he started to attract dream assignments. Dream assignments, so for motion designers, means that you get to do the titles of a movie, right? The movie titles. So the typography and the names of the director and the actors in the movie that you see in the beginning, which are normally very creative, very graphic. This is what David was started to be hired to do, which really elevated his profile as an animator or as a motion designer, right? He started infusing more of this work in his portfolio, and with that, he was sending a clear message to the world that he is more than a motion designer. He also has this skill set of lettering, and through that, he made his own work as a motion designer more interesting. Again, David didn't become a different designer. He became a better motion designer by adding lettering into the mix, by adding lettering as a skill set, by having that edge as a motion designer, which allowed him to attract more interesting work his way. And the last story that I want to tell you is the one of Ran. Ran is a logotype designer in Germany, and Ran moved by adding lettering in his skill set, moved from picking fonts to create logotypes for his clients to now creating custom word marks by using lettering as a skill set, right? And he can position himself as an expert in custom logo design, which also allows him to raise his rates because he's not just using any font that any other can use. He's creating unique word marks that are just unique for that brand, right? So again, Rand didn't become a different designer. He became a better designer by adding lettering to his skill set. And he's attracting more interesting projects that allow him, that give him also more creative freedom because he's seen as an expert. He's just not choosing a font, and he is creating those letter forms. So again, they started by learning the craft, incorporating that in their portfolio, infusing their portfolio with the skill set that they had, and they started taking this seriously. They stopped practicing and they started making. They started approaching every client assignment with the lens of lettering from the perspective of a lettering designer. And this is what allowed them to position themselves differently and to stand out from the crowd. And they also realize that growth isn't a solo act. And I mentioned in the pro lettering designer, so in the lettering pro profile, that a lettering pro goes look for support and for guidance. That growth isn't something that happens in isolation by you focusing on your craft and just staying in your computer doing the thing. It's something that happens because you interact with other people, you get feedback. And designers struggle not because of skill, because if you have learned the skill that you have right now to the level that you have, you can learn any skill. I say that anybody can learn to draw letter forms, but only those who stick longer enough are the ones who succeed. And designers struggle to develop a skill and to make a living from it because they lack of structure, feedback, accountability, input, consistency. They lack the support they need to stick around for long enough, for the long run. And I want to And we, with my team, we have built the space for designers to do that. And if you give me permission, and let me know in the chat if you want to give me permission to tell you a little bit about it, I can tell you what it looks like to grow your skill and to go down into the path of lettering design with our support inside Big Ampersand. But first, I need your permission to continue and tell you how it looks like to be a Big Ampersand member, which, by the way, all the people that I mentioned, or the designers that I mentioned before, that I told you the stories, are part of our community. Big Ampersand is the membership that we built with my team 3 years ago. We have been running it for 3 years. And I want to tell you about this because for the first time, we are opening a small public registration window with 20 spots only. This membership has been exclusive for our alumni and the members of our workshops programs. So we only allow our alumni to enter this membership. But today, for the first time, we are opening a public registration window. And I want to tell you first, because I know that if you are here, if you dedicated 1 hour of your time to focus on this, is because you care about it. And we want people like you inside this community, people that are really here for the long run, that are invested into this. And if you are one of them, then I want to invite you to Big Ampersand. Thank you so much for giving me permission. And I'm going to tell you how this looks like. First, I want to tell you that when you enter Big Ampersand as a member, you have access to a library of training, resources, a community, and a wealth of information. And we know that one of the main problems nowadays of designers is that they feel overwhelmed. How many times have you accessed a membership and you were given access to a world of videos and trainings and resources that you didn't even know how to navigate? We don't want that for you. I could tell you, hey, you have access to all of this, but we don't want you to just have access to a bunch of trainings, because we know that this creates more overwhelm, and we don't want that for you. So we intentionally design an experience to eliminate that overwhelm and to help you make progress. And I want to show you what it's like to be a Big Ampersand member, which is all the opposite to accessing a place full of trainings that you need to navigate on your own. So first, when you come into our family, there's a personalized onboarding session. That is Micaela. Micaela is our community manager. Micaela used to be a member, and she recently started managing this community. And Micaela will sit down with you on a Zoom call and will show you around. She will take you by the hand, step by step, to help you set up everything you need to get the best out of the membership. So you're not alone in this. You're gonna be welcomed by Micaela on a call, and she will show you around and will get you set up for success. Then this is our calendar. So there's a calendar inside Big Ampersand. And I want to show you how a month in Big Ampersand looks like. So this was October 2025, so last month inside Big Ampersand. And we designed the membership in a way that you have one action a week. So this is purposely done so that you don't feel overwhelmed, you don't feel like you're missing out. You have a few things to do step by step, and we help you move forward step by step. So there's one action a week. The first day of the month, we start with the portfolio challenge. I mentioned what the portfolio challenges are. Portfolio challenges are real life briefings where we prompt you to design a book cover or a perfume bottle. Sometimes it's a monogram, and everybody gets to create or to respond to that briefing. And what is great about the portfolio challenges is that the and you can see that in the projects that I'm showing. You may be thinking right now, oh my God, those designs, they are amazing. And yes, it is true. And you will see that when you join a group where everybody gives their best to create their best design for each challenge, your work automatically gets better. You start performing to the level of the other members. Context impacts performance. And we know that the context that you are immersing inside Big Ampersand will impact your performance as a lettering designer. And the portfolio challenges will help you build your portfolio, which is your main asset as a designer. Next week, you will join a studio hour. So the first week, we will launch the portfolio challenge. The second week, you can join a studio hour. And in the studio hours, this is the way they look. So either me or our main instructor, Elias Prado, who you're going to meet in a minute, we get together in a Zoom call and we answer all of the questions that you may have. We help you with roadblocks that you may have found. We also mingle a little bit inside breakout rooms. This is where our community comes together, our instructors come together, and we move forward together. Then next week, there might be a lettering pulse session. So lettering pulse sessions are special sessions that happen every 2 months. And this is how they look. And the idea of a lettering pulse session is simple and at the same time very powerful. We just get together to draw because we know that one of the toughest things for designers to do is to find the time to do the work. So what we do here is that we facilitate that time and we get together, we draw a certain quote. So you can see there on the screen, they are drawing Trust the Process, and I think Love is Love. And everybody gets together, we play some music, we draw, and then we go into breakout rooms and we give feedback to one another. That's also very powerful, that you leave this session with a lettering piece, with the feedback that you need to make it better, and you can continue working on that piece with the help of the community later on. Pro trainings. This is what happens the next week. So every month we have a pro training, and the pro trainings are one of the highlights of our community. These are in-depth trainings that touch on different topics about the craft and the business of lettering. So sometimes there will be about some technical aspects. So for instance, how to create expressive brush lettering, how to improve your composition, or color schemes for your designs. And we touch also on the business side of things. So how to craft a portfolio that lands paid assignments, productivity for creatives, and for instance, client outreach. So all of these topics are touched upon in depth inside the pro trainings, and they happen once a month. And the next week, you may have a creative action pod. Creative action pods, they happen once every 3 months. So in the creative action pods, we define the goals for that quarter. And this is how they look like. So the creative action pods are places where we match you with people who are on the same stage of your journey. We know that our members are in different stages. Some of them are in the beginning stages. Some of them are in the end stages. So some of them are just starting with the craft, trying to get their sketches right, or they're trying to learn digital drawing for letter forms. Some of them are in the end stages of the journey. So they are trying to do client outreach, get paid assignments. So we match you with someone that is on the same stage. and we make you work on breakout rooms together to define your goals for that quarter and to determine action steps that you need to take in order to make progress towards that goal. And it creates this network of members that really support each other in whichever stage you are. And we have something that we have launched 1 week ago and it's already powerful. So it's called the Lettering Designers Directory. This is the directory that showcases the work of our designers who are ready to work professionally as lettering designers. And Juanma, who you see there on the screen, already landed a paid assignment through this Lettering Designers Directory. We are hoping to connect you with opportunities, with representation, with client assignments, with collaborations through this Lettering Designers Directory that is backed up by us. And of course, you have access to a community, which is the most powerful thing you can find. The community is what makes you stay accountable, continue doing the work, and enjoy the process. And what I love about our community is that it's a real one. And I have visited the US this year, and I have organized meetings with our members in different cities. And it has been great to just come together. And although we meet online every other week, it was just great to see them in person and realize that we are real people who are really connected to one another and realize the impact that we are having in their lives and careers. And there's other elements inside the membership, which are, one of them is the game changers. These are bite-sized tutorials delivered by Elias, who is our lead instructor, and he's also the senior designer in the studio. And he delivers these bite-sized tutorials to help you do something specifically faster and more efficiently. And that's why they're called the game changers by the community. And you have our feedback and our support. So Micaela, our community manager, Roma, who is also in the chat today, helping me out with your questions. She is also there and making sure that everything works smooth for our members. She's our operations lead, and she takes care of every detail. There's Elias, who is also leading some of the pro trainings and some of the studio hours. And there's me also doing my thing, leading the pro trainings, answering to your comments inside the community. And this is the deepest access that you will have to all of us inside our membership. And of course, you also get access to all our library of trainings and resources. So yes, all of this is available to you, but the experience of joining Big Ampersand is a design one. So you won't feel overwhelmed. You won't feel like you're missing out. You will feel that you're getting just exactly what you need to move forward. And for those that sign up, for those 20 that sign up until Friday, November 21st, which is next Friday, you will get as a bonus access to a portfolio intensive workshop, which is happening in January. This is an accelerator. It's a special training that I will be guiding personally to help you build your portfolio faster. We do that inside Big Ampersand. We help you build a portfolio through portfolio challenges and through special trainings. But this training is an additional one, it's an accelerator, and you're gonna get access to that if you sign up until this Friday. And then there's the bonus number 2, which is you're gonna get a gold member badge. For those that sign up until Friday, you're gonna get a gold member badge, which gives you access to tons of treats and discounts and access to special events within the community. And you're also going to get access to the Advanced Digital Lettering Bundle. This bundle contains 3 of our most popular trainings on digital lettering. And this is especially loved by designers because you get all nerdy and you get into the nitty-gritty of the creative elements and the digital lettering and moving the anchor points and all of that. So you're gonna also get this as a bonus if you sign up until November 21st. So let me show you everything that you get access to when you join our membership. You have access to the live pro trainings, the studio hours, the lettering pulse sessions, the creative action pods, the portfolio challenges to help you build your portfolio. And of course, you have access to the most amazing community out there in the internet. I'm positive to say this. We have the most amazing group of members who support each other and who are there for you. And you have access to the lettering designers directory if you become a member. And these are the bonuses that you get if you sign up until Friday. The Advanced Digital Lettering Bundle, the Portfolio Intensive that is happening in January, and the Gold Badge, which gives you access to a lot of perks and events, special events during the year. So there is a ton of value that you have access to if you join Big Ampersand. And you can join Big Ampersand today for $37.5 a month. This is billed yearly, so you will pay $450 for the full year of support with us. And there's only 20 spots. You can join us at bigampersand.com. Roma is going to share the link on the chat, so you can go ahead and you can click on the link and join us until Friday, November 21st. This is a special window and let me see if Roma is sharing the link. I'm going to share the link with you, and you can go and click. And so this is the link to join Big Ampersand. Click on the link that I dropped in the chat. You can join us until this Friday, November 21st. There's only 20 spots. And just imagine being a full year supported by us, having the input that you need, the training that you need, having the community to support you, to celebrate with you the wins, to give you feedback on your work, having the space to do the work through the lettering pulse sessions. Imagine a full year of support. If you have gotten where you have gotten by doing it all on your own, imagine if you would do that with support throughout the entire year. And if you want to make 2026 the moment where you go all in with your lettering skills and infusing more work that you love in the work that you're already doing, then I would love to welcome you inside Big Ampersand. We only have 20 spots. As I said before, this used to be, for the past 3 years, this has been the backend or the private community that we only allowed access to our alumni into. So only our alumni from our workshops, from our courses, were able to join this private membership. And now we are opening just 20 spots for the general public. And you are the first ones to find out. So we are announcing this here. You have the chance to fill in those 20 spots, to grab your spot, because in 1 hour, we are gonna announce it to our email list of 30,000 subscribers. And yes, and I would love for you to join the membership. Remember, the link is in the chat. Is go to bigampersand.com. I dropped the link in the chat. Just click on it and go check it out. You will have all the details over there and the link to sign up. And I'm gonna answer some of your questions. Roma is who is in the chat, is gonna pick up some of the questions for me so that I can answer any question that you may have on what we just discussed, but also what I mentioned about Big Ampersand. So Jovina joined. Welcome, Jovina. So excited that you are one of the first ones. Mauro also joined. Excellent. So 2 of the 20 spots are already taken in just a few minutes. Um, I want to mention, and I know that many of you have this question of, will you open registrations again later on so that I can think about this? We don't know. Seriously, this is the first time that we do it. This is also new for us. And we feel now that after 3 years, we are ready to welcome new members and to support them and to get the same results that we got for our alumni inside the membership. But we don't know when we are going to open a new registration window and if we are going to do it. So if you feel that we can make a difference in your journey, that we, with the support that you will get inside Big Ampersand, you will be able to make more progress than you have done on your own all of this time, then I invite you to just take the leap and join this time around, because we don't know when we are going to open a new registration window. So I'm going to go to check on the questions that you may have. Let me see. So I see someone asking, is it available in Spanish? So we have people joining. So the community, everything happens in English. The trainings, the same way that this training is happening in English, it's just the universal language nowadays. However, inside the community, we have people speaking a ton of different languages. We have a lot of Spanish speakers. Some of the breakout rooms, or sometimes we match members into breakout rooms with other members that speaks their language. So we create breakout rooms of Spanish speakers, breakout rooms of German speakers. So you will have the chance to match with other members who also speak Spanish. And I want to tell you, so Eduardo, because I know that behind this question, there is perhaps the insecurity of like, well, I'm not a native English speaker, so would I benefit from all of the things, considering that I don't dominate the language? And I want to tell you that almost, half of the people inside our membership are not native speakers. In fact, your lead instructor, myself, the director of the membership, is not a native English speaker, and this hasn't gone in the way of any of our members to make progress and reach their goals. So let me go on to the next questions. So another question that I'm often asked, yes, Jojo, the language that we use within studio hours are English. Correct. So I'm receiving some questions from Roma here. And for those that are wondering, hey, and this goes for any of you, no matter whether you are a beginner or an advanced lettering designer. So if you are in the beginning of your journey or at the end or at the advanced stages of your journey, I know that you may wonder, hey, is this for me? I'm really in the beginning stages. Is this something for me? Or I'm really in the advanced stages of my journey. Is this going to help me? And I want to tell you that yes, this is the reason why we make this onboarding session, or you are welcome inside the community by our community manager in a special session, is because we want to understand at which stage of your journey you are, and we are gonna direct you specifically to the parts that will make the most impact on what you're trying to achieve. We are going to direct you to the right resources. We are going to give you advice on what are the the pro trainings that you can benefit the most from? What are the events or the elements of the community or the membership that you're going to benefit the most from? So yes, it's going to help you whether no matter in which stage of your journey you are. This is designed in that way so that we can support everybody at the stage of their journey. And I want to explain why. We are here for the long run. We know that makes the whole difference. And this is why we also want to provide you an experience where we can be your guide and support you throughout the entire journey. This is why we are able to help you if you're just starting, as well as if you are advanced in your lettering journey, because we have gone through it ourselves. We have walked the entire path, and we want to walk the entire path with each one of our members. And this is why we are able to help everybody, no matter which stage of their journey they are. So let me see your questions here. Okay, I have some questions coming in. Is this a yearly program? Mauro is asking. Mauro, this is a membership. So this is not a program that you start and has. This is not a course. So a membership is something much more dynamic in the sense that it has regular events, and it has a schedule, right? So you can decide to join those events depending on what your interest is. So there's a wealth of events or a variety of events that you can decide to join or not, depending on what your personal goals are. And we support you throughout the year. Right? This is not a course that you have to take, that is self-paced and you have to take on your own. This is live guidance. So the studio hours, the pro trainings, the community is all live. We are there for you. Live, you will meet with me on Zoom. You will meet with our instructors on the pro trainings. You will get answers live on the community. So this is not a course. This is a program, or this is a platform and a set of events that support you live in your journey. I hope that I answered your question, Mauro. Let me know if you have questions. So what happens if you're studying and you're not at that level? Anna, I answered that question already. So if you're just studying, Big Ampersand can help you. So Lucy is asking, what days are the meetings and at what time? This is a great question, because as I just mentioned to Mauro, as I was answering to Mauro, that this is a live, all our trainings are live. Nevertheless, we provide a replay for all our trainings, all our studio hours, all our events. They are backed up with a replay. So if you miss out on that event, you can watch the replay. The meetings and the meetings and the pro trainings normally happen because we work with an international roster of members. We offer our pro trainings and our live events, like the Lettering PAL, like the Creative Action Pods, like the studio hours. We normally offer these events at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. 10 a.m. Eastern Time or 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So this is the range. You can translate that to the time zone where you live right now. So Lucy, I hope that answers your question. We normally offer those experiences or those sessions at 10 a.m. Eastern Time or 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Other questions. So Leary is asking, is it possible to pay monthly? Leary, this is the first time we open this membership to the public, and this is the most affordable way of working with us. This is seriously the most affordable way you have to access to our training. In fact, one single training, one single workshop with us costs what the full year of the membership costs. So I mentioned before that the advanced digital lettering bundle is included as a bonus this time around. Each workshop of that advanced digital lettering bundle costed $300 to join. So that means that this membership is really like the lowest or the most accessible opportunity you have to work with us. And this is why we ask our members, or those 20 members that join this time around, to commit for a full year. We think that if you are invested and if you dedicate yourself for a full year, you work with us for a full year, you will get the results that you want. But we don't want members to come in and out just to try it out. We don't want someone to pay monthly and say like, okay, I'm leaving next month, because we really care about our community. We have worked for 3 years to build it to the level that we have. We really know each member that is inside the community. You're not just a number with us inside our membership. We call you by your name. We know about your work. We know about your journey. We know the progress you're doing. So we really want new members that are invested into joining and into putting in the work that requires to get really good at what you do. So this is why, Liri, we don't offer monthly to pay monthly, because we want you to be in with us, and we want you to invest yourself into that. Let me see if you have more questions. So remember, you can join us today. Go to the chat. I'm going to drop the link to join us today into Big Ampersand. Click the link in the chat and join us. So I have another question that Roma is sending me. Vladimir is asking, do you think doing calligraphy is something useful for lettering design? Good question, Vladimir. Yes, it is not only useful, but it's essential. So I always say, and we touch on this specific topic inside Big Ampersand, of course, because I say that calligraphy is the mother of all letter forms, and to be every smart lettering artist has a calligraphic tools at hand. So that means that as a lettering artist, or in order to draw letter forms, you need to understand calligraphy. You need to understand how a tool works, and we touch on this topic inside our membership. In fact, there is one training that is coming up now in December that is about this. Is sharing with in this pro training, we're going to share experimental tools to create letter forms that beat AI every time. And it's called this way, that beat AI. And some of the tools that we're going to share with you are calligraphic tools, because AI cannot grab a brush and write stuff. So we are going to share these tools with you. So to your question, Vladimir, yes, calligraphy is essential to draw letter forms, is the mother of all letter forms. And if you want to learn calligraphy and how that impacts the shape of your letters, you can join Big Ampersand. I'm going to drop again the link in the chat, so you can just click it and join the community. There's only 20 spots, and I know that a few of them are gone already. just in this session, and in half an hour, we're going to announce it to our general list of subscribers. So I see that Flo is asking, are there software requirements? So first, I want to tell you that our community, our Big Ampersand membership works within Circle. Circle is not a Facebook group. It's not a Discord. It's a private platform that is very intuitive. Is the one that we chose to do this because it's so easy to use and it's so great to for this specific purpose. So when you join the community, you will be invited to create a user and you will be able to use Circle right away. It is very intuitive, and also with the onboarding session with Micaela, you're gonna understand how it works right away. So that's one software that you're gonna need, which is our platform. And then inside our membership, members use the software that works better for them. We essentially teach vector software, so vector-based software, and our members use the vector-based software that they prefer. They use, some of them use Adobe Illustrator, some of them use Affinity. So you can choose the vector-based program that you need and you want. However, there's who don't use vector-based program, although this is essentially the one software that we use professionally, and we recommend every letter designer to use, because as a lettering designer, you will eventually have to use a vector-based program. But many of our members use Procreate or any other software that they find more useful for the type of work that they want to do. So software is not a requirement, is a suggestion in our case. So we suggest you to use a vector-based program. Many of our trainings will touch on a vector-based program, but many of our members don't use vector-based programs. They use Procreate or other or Fresco, Adobe Fresco as well. Some of them use, yes. And I'm going to drop again the link in the chat. Remember that we are opening registrations up until this Friday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. So you have time until midnight to join Big Ampersand. There's only 20 spots. Yes, and we don't know when we are going to open the community again. I'm going to check if there's other questions that Roma is sending me. Excellent, everybody. I think I've covered most of them. I hope you found value in this training, that it gave you clarity around how it looks like to work as a lettering designer, what is the path that you need to follow to use lettering design as a way of becoming an expert at something specific in design. If you're a designer, you don't need to become a different designer. You just, learning lettering design just makes you a better designer and gives you that edge that will allow you to stand out in the crowd of designers out there. And hopefully the examples that I gave you, or the stories that I told you of members of our community, have inspired you and have given you ideas on how you can infuse some of the work that you love doing with lettering into your professional work. Remember, there's no better way to become really good at what you do than treating it professionally. And this is why I share with you today also the opportunity to join Big Ampersand, because this is what we have created, or this was the goal of this community, of this membership that we created, that we help you stay accountable, stay or stick to it for the long run, long enough so that you can become really good at it and you can start, working as a lettering designer, infusing more of this work in your portfolio, in the work that you do every day. And if you want to join us inside Big Ampersand, remember there's the link in the chat. You can join us today. This is a special time window that you have to join. Of course, if you decide not to join us, I hope that this training was valuable. Nevertheless, for those that already joined us, welcome. I'm so happy to have you, and I cannot wait to see what you create inside Big Ampersand. Everybody, I dropped the link in the chat. You can click and go check it out. Go read the entire website and see everything that you get. See the stories of our members, the comments of our members. I feel that that's much more powerful than all of the things that I can tell you about it. And I hope to see you. So some of you inside the community. Roma is telling me that already 6 spots are gone. So 6 of you already signed up. There is 14 spots left. And I want you to take the time to just read the entire website and see if this is for you. If you want to go all in, if you want to make 2026 the year in which you double down on this, like I did back then in 2009, 2008, I decided to double down on this, and this really transformed my career, my life, allowed me to build a career I really love, doing work I love. And that's why I'm so passionate in sharing this with other designers, because I know it can be transformative. And if you decide to continue your journey with us, I am looking forward to see you inside Big Ampersand. If you don't, I hope you enjoyed this training. And I want to tell you I appreciate you. I wish you a beautiful day. And thank you so much for joining today. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.